Hello, family. It's been a while, but I'm back. It's your girl, Sharita, coming at you from the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, where you can find solutions for your child's behavior and learning challenges. I got a good one for y'all today. We're going to be talking about why it is so important to make sure that we're teaching our kids how to focus before they go back to school. Okay, we're still in the summer, and what I want y'all to do is start teaching your kids how to focus now, so that when they go back to the classroom, they can function in the classroom. Okay, it is, to me, the single most important predictor of success. I've worked with kids over the years. I'm a tutor and coach. At first, I was a mental health specialist. I worked at UMDJ in Newark, helping kids improve behavior and social skills. And then I went on to become a special education teacher. And now I am a tutor and coach. I teach kids online. I help kids improve behaviorally and academically at the same time. And I'm telling you, a lot of kids walking around here struggling to read and grade levels below, the thing that's getting in their way is their inability to focus. Now, after that, of course, you equip them, you teach them, you put strategies in place. But focus needs to be a huge part, okay? Focus needs to be interwoven into the fabric of teaching, okay? It's so important. We can't just teach kids how to read. We also have to teach them how to focus at the same time. We can't just teach kids how to write or spell. We have to also teach them how to focus at the same time. I cannot tell you how many times that I've worked with kids and they were in front of me trying to figure out something, trying to figure out an answer, trying to figure out how to read, and they couldn't get it at first. And then when they were able to focus on it, they got it on their own, without me prompting them, without me giving them hints, without none of that. They just was not focused, okay? This is so important. I have the privilege of right now doing reading workshops at the library, the Linda Public Library. It's 4 workshops, okay? 4 dates. So come every Tuesday, and I'm on week 3. And now the next week is the last Tuesday that I'll be there. We've been working on reading comprehension, spelling. Today we worked on writing, okay? Breaking down a race strategy. Now, these kids that I haven't worked with before, never met them. I met them for the first time on day 1. By the end of the class, everyone was focused. Everyone had improved their focus. Everyone improved it, waiting my turn to speak, right? Because that's a rule that I remind them of. Okay, staying in their seats. You have kids getting out of their seats frequently. Being able to read words that they were struggling with, being able to figure it out, figure out the word and read, being able to read the sentences. Parents are like amazed at what their kids could do. I even had a child in the workshop. He was so young. He was in preschool. His mom didn't think he could participate in the class, and she was so surprised to see him sounding out words and spelling words on his own. It's all focus. Now, I'm not saying it's all focus, but that's where it starts. You have to ask yourself, what is my child thinking about right now? What are they focusing on? You have to be able to notice when your child breaks their focus, when their focus breaks away, when they're trying to read, or when they're trying to answer a question, solve a math problem. You have to be able to catch when their focus breaks away, okay? And bring them back. We have to make sure they are focused, okay? In the beginning, since I had a full house today, Some students, you know, keep coming back. Then I had a few new students. Okay, and then they was coming in at different times. The students, so I had to, you know, get everybody acclimated when they came in, and then some more students would come in. So by that time, the focus of the class was off, and everybody as a class have to get together and do one thing. So I got them up out of their seats, and I had them moving around, and then I busted into a game of Simon Says, and then everybody's paying attention, everybody's on point, everybody's looking at me, following exactly what I'm doing, and I'm trying to trick them, I'm trying to go faster, I'm trying to make them look up, look down, look up, look down, look up, look down, and then I just, you know, but Simon Says, and then I just don't, you know, I didn't say Simon Says, so I, you know, was catching them. They was super focused because they wanted to make sure that they didn't get out. You understand what I'm saying? So before I continued with the lesson for the day, I did that because everybody needs to be looking at me, all eyes on me, and we all need to be moving as a group. Okay? Now today wasn't easy because there's a lot of writing. There's a lot of reading and a lot of writing. But the students, they did it. I had one of the little boys throughout the writing, you know, and I had sentence starters. I'm teaching them through sentence starters also. Throughout the writing, he kept saying, I don't know what else to write. I don't have anything else. I can't think of anything else. So he didn't have confidence. He's not used to doing it on his own. Every time he does a little bit, he's raising his hand. But guess what? He wasn't focused on doing it by himself either. He wasn't focused on that. So every time he raised his hand and told me, then I would tell him, nope, we don't say we can't. We don't say I don't know. We say I got this. And you have an imagination. Use your imagination. Think. What do you want to write? What do you want to say? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm having him focus on those two words. Keep going. Keep going. And then after a while, he yelled out, I finished it. And I looked over and I said, oh, and I checked and I said, good job, man. He was smiling from ear to ear because he did it on his own. And that's one thing that we have to make sure we do as adults is not jump in as soon as our kids say they can't do something or they don't know and solve it for them. If they do it themselves, then they are focused on it. If they do it themselves, they're taking ownership of it. If they do it themselves, when they get to the finish line, they're going to feel so proud of themselves. And when I tell you the smile he had on his face for the rest of the class is so important, okay? There's another student who he's smart, but he didn't actually want to do the work, right? So this is a focus lesson for me, okay? So I'm going around and I'm talking to everyone else, and he's sitting there, he's not really doing it, and I kept telling him I want to see his pencil moving, I want his eyes on the paper and pencil moving, keep working, you know. That wasn't enough. As I was going around with the students, and I just pulled up a chair next to him, and I just talked to him. Now that we're face to face, and I'm looking at him face to face, and I'm asking him questions about what his decision is going to be. I am focused on him, and he is focused on me. And I asked him, I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know if you had made the decision to finish your writing or not. And when I asked him that, he just picked it up, the pencil, and he just started writing. And then I told him, I said, you're very smart. Good job. I can't wait to see what you write. You're very smart. You just got to keep working, okay? When I look at you, I want to see your pencil moving, okay? So then I move around and I'm working with the rest of the kids. And then he raised his hand and he said, I finished it. And I said, good job. He said, I finished it before you started the game. Why? Because I told him I'm going to do the game in a minute, and in order to participate, you have to be done with your work. So now he's focused on the game. Okay? He's not even focused on, do I feel like doing this or not? He's focused on the game. So since he now has a focus and a goal, he's going to make sure he's done with his work, right? So that he could play the game. So I had to give him something to focus on, and I had to focus on something. There's another little girl there who she wasn't doing. Of course she needed to be equipped. Of course she was struggling, right? But she wasn't even thinking for herself. She wasn't even trying to do it because her bigger sister was there. And every time she had to go into the next step, her bigger sister would point and tell her what to do and direct her. So I moved her seat. And I moved her closer to me, but not closer to me so that I can, micromanage, right? I was still moving around, but that was the spot where it was easier for me to work with her when she wasn't next to her sister. Okay? So then without her sister there, she's focusing on actually doing the work and thinking for herself. Okay? And then she progressed through and she started to do hers and do well. Okay? So in that workshop, and this is just some of the students that were here today, some of the new students, that had come to the workshop today. Some, like I said, have been coming since the first workshop, but it's just within that hour and a half. How do you get kids to move forward? How do you get kids to get to the point where they are finished and they feel proud of what they accomplished? Every child is different. Every child will approach the assignment differently. I had another student who was doing a great job, but she wasn't sure of herself. Every time I give an instruction, she turned around and she asked me the instruction. She asked me if she should do it. She asked me where she should write. She asked me what she should copy or what she should she kept asking me over and over. So I see that she's not sure of herself. And her focus is on getting reassurance before she moves forward. And she needed it over and over. But she was a smart girl. She could figure it out. So I started asking her, what do you think you should do? Tell me, what do you think? Now she's focusing on what she thinks she should do instead of just focusing on me. And some of your kids, and when they go to school, they're not even thinking first. They don't feel confident enough to move forward unless they get the teacher to tell them every step. We got to get them out of that. And once she got out of that and she started just thinking and moving forward and doing the work, she did a beautiful job and she finished it, right? And she was so proud. And then when they finished their writing, they could read their writing aloud. So every child is different. Now I had another child who's a little bit older, and she was more focused on, she's tired, she just woke up. You know how kids when they get older, in the teenage years, right? She's tired, she just woke up. How much does she have to do? It's raining outside, y'all can hear that. It's beautiful rain. How much does she have to do? And she was doing it, but then she would go back, and they're not supposed to get out of their seats. I told them this in the beginning. That's one of the ways that you earn your points. She would get out of her seat and she would go to her mom, and she would use her mom's phone to take a picture of it so she can write stuff down. And she would, she kept going back to her mom. So she was focused on using the phone as an aid to complete her writing. Okay? And then when we play build a house, which is my version of hangman, right? I just don't like saying hangman. When all the kids had to huddle together, because when they get close to solving the word, then I close my ears so I can't hear them, and I have them all come together to figure out the word and talk to each other. And instead of her being with everybody else, she went to the back again and asked her mom for her phone so she could pick up the phone so she can search up words or type in what I had on the board already to see if then it would tell her what the word is. She's too focused on using technology to complete her assignments. And I said, oh no, we don't do that. Give the phone back to mom. Give it back. Come on back, right? But then they all got together and they figured out the word. They beat me because I compete with them on this. They beat me. What is your child focused on? When they first start doing the work, what's their first focus? Is their first focus to ask you for help? Is their first focus to write a little bit and then say that's it? That's all I got? Or are they focused on writing until they get to the end? Are they focused on, if they get to a word they don't know, automatically asking for spelling assistance? Or are they focused on writing a word and trying to figure out how to spell it on their own? What is your child focused on? Okay? Are they focused on staying in their seats? Or are they focused on getting up and moving around? Right? What is your child focused on? Okay? I want to talk briefly about another one. I have a privilege of teaching a student, so smart, but she repeats your questions. When you ask her a question, she repeats the questions, right? Right. So, the process, her thinking process, right, and how she's processing and breaking everything down. So first you ask her a question, then she asks you the same question, right? And then if you stop there, that could seem like that's what it is. And then you keep asking her the question over and over to get her to answer you instead of repeating the question. But I noticed that when you ask her a question, the first thing she does, step one, is to then take your question in. She wants to take your question in, so that's why she repeats it. Step two is for her to think about your question and what her answer might be. Okay? So instead of answering first, she repeats your question, then she thinks about what her answer is, then she gives her answer, right? And I can see this whole process going. So what I wanted to do was help her skip that step. So what we started doing is having her focus in the beginning on the question. I will tell her, look at me, look at my eyes. I see you, you see me, right? And then I will ask her a question. And once she was focused, she was able to then answer without repeating the question. So she skipped the first part. She skipped that first step. I noticed that when I got her to look at me, instead of looking around, she was really focusing on what I was asking her. And then she would think, still focused on me, she would think, and then she would answer. So we were able to skip that first part. Then the other part, the other way I got her to focus is narrowing her choices. So if I ask her a question like, do you eat apples? Yes or no? Yes or no? I would say yes or no right after that. And then she would only be able to, not be able to, but she will only choose between two answers. And that helped her focus also. Not all over the place, but just yes or no. And then if her answer is yes, she will say yes. Then we're working on answering the complete sentences. So yes, I do eat apples. Or yes, I do like apples, whatever the question is. So that's what we've been working on for the first 2 weeks. Now I could ask her a question and she can answer yes, I do like apples, or no, I don't like apples, or yes, I like to play outside, or no, I don't like to play outside. Whatever she said, she of course answered yes to that. But then I tried to trick her. I asked her if she eats shoes, and she looked at me and she said, no, I do not eat shoes. She looked at me like I was crazy. But focus and write. Focus on me and then write it down. Writing is such a big tool when you're helping kids focus. Every time she answered a question for me, I had her write it down. And she knows how to read and write, spell, right? Every time she answered a question for me, I had her write the answer down. So from doing that, that helped her improve focus and also expressive language. Now listen, our kids should always be writing. That helps them focus so much. If the teacher's in front of the class teaching and talking, and the child doesn't have a pencil in their hand, they're not really learning that much. Okay? This is what I learned over the years. They need to be active learners. They need to be listening. They need to be eyes on the teacher. They need to be listening. And then they also need a pencil in their hand and be ready to write. So we should always have our kids writing. That's another layer of focus. Okay? And it's also, when you teach kids how to focus, you teach them how to take ownership. If the teacher's doing all the talking and doing all the writing on the board, then the child isn't really taking ownership. The only thing they have to do is look at the teacher. That could easily be disrupted and distracted. But if they have to listen to the teacher and be ready to write and write down what the teacher is writing on the board, and then be ready for the next question, be ready to be called on, be ready to read aloud, be ready to answer, and they must answer in a complete sentence. If they have to always be ready, and then you got that flow going on, and they're actively working, they are also actively focusing and paying attention. See, the problem I notice is a lot of times we keep requiring our kids to do less. And the less they do, the less they have to focus. Okay? The less they have to focus. So imagine if I did the reading workshop today, and we focus on writing today. But imagine if I went up there and I read everything for them, and I told them what to write. I just asked them, what do you think I should write here? And then they could tell me what they think I should write on the board. And then I wrote it on the board. And all they did was sit in their chairs and they didn't do anything. There was no way that I could keep that class focused. There's no way that I can get those kids to get past their challenge areas, right? Get past their own personal challenges so that they can get through to the end of the paper, of the writing. There's no way that I could do that. And then when I was going around and the other students were working on their writing, but then I would go to each student and each student would be able to read what they wrote already to me. Then the other students are finishing because they want to be called on next. Now they focus on being able to read to me. Okay? So there's a certain amount of work that's tied to focusing. We have to make sure that our kids are always working so that they can focus. Teaching your child how to focus is not just teaching them how to pay attention. It's teaching them how to sit properly. It's teaching them how to be ready when you tell them to write something down, to start writing immediately. It's teaching them how to stand up and read and project their voice and read what they wrote aloud. It's teaching them, if they're reading and they say a instead of the, to catch it and then go back and read that sentence again. What else is it? Because I'm thinking of different strategies that I've used for students. This is another thing that I keep saying with students, and this helps them a lot. When they're reading a word, say they're reading a multisyllabic word, and they're already intimidated by it. And then they read, they just kind of bunch it together, or they try to skip it. And I say, imagine you were eating a huge cheeseburger. It's like bigger than your face. It's a huge cheeseburger. Would you stuff that whole thing in your mouth, or would you take a bite? And then they say, I would take a bite. And they say, yeah. So that's how we're going to read these words. We're going to read one part at a time. And any time during the workshop a student was started to struggle on a word, I would listen to them first, because I want to see how they read it, how they figure it out. Some kids will read the first part, skip the middle, and go right to the end. Some kids will start at the end of the word instead of at the beginning when they're reading, right? They would start with the ending sound instead of the beginning sound, right? So it's so important to not jump in too quickly when your child is reading, but to actually listen to see how they read it, so you can coach them, right? But whenever a child is struggling to read, then I have them write parts of the word down, and I write it on the board. The first part, read the first part. Okay, now read that 3 times. All right, what is this part? What does this sound like? All right, read that. Now put the two together. Now let's go from the beginning. Let's do, right? So that's all focus also. And you'll be amazed at how kids who are struggling to read, and they start to back up, and they start to give up, right? They're just guessing, how they lean forward and look at it, and they are focused on it, because now they see this strategy, and they starting to get it, and they know they're going to figure out the word, right? That's focus. Imagine I'm telling a child to read a word, and they struggling to read it, and then they're looking all around. They don't even see the word. Or with spelling, a lot of times when kids start to spell and they're not sure how to spell the word, they'll start looking up and looking around. Part of it is their thinking, trying to figure out the word over here. But you're not looking at the word anymore, so you're not focused on it anymore. Your brain can't figure it out up here without looking at the word too. You know what I mean? So then I get them to do both. I say, take your finger, put it on the word. So that finger strategy, I've been using that for a long time. They have to put their finger on the word. That helps them look at the word. That helps them focus on the first part of the word, and then the second part, and then, and then I tell them, point to each part as you're reading it, right? That's focus. So teaching your kids how to focus before they go back to school is so important. If you can teach your kids how to master focus, when they get into school, they're going to do so much better this year than the year before. Okay? And that's something I definitely look for when I'm assessing students before they come into my tutoring coaching program, or when I'm teaching them in a workshop, or when I'm teaching them students in my program, even my new homework program that started 2-3 weeks ago. It's going great, by the way. I can tell a lot about a child's focus by the answers in the homework. And then I develop strategies that will not only teach them the skill, but also help them focus better in the areas where they weren't really focused, right? So that's important to do both at the same time. You know how your child will be in school and they'll be learning, and they go to school every day, the teacher teaches every day, but they still didn't get it. That's because there's some focus gaps there. There's some focus gaps there that your child needs to fill, that needs to be filled, so that your child can focus on learning, on the material, on the skill that the teacher is teaching, on the concepts. They can focus on it, and they'll finally get it. That is so important. I can't stress this enough, that a lot of kids are struggling with reading because of lack of focus. They are struggling with writing because of lack of focus. They need focus. They need organization. They need to organize their thoughts. And even math and math word problems. If your child is intimidated by math word problems, and as soon as they start reading it, they already left. They already left, and they're waiting for it to be explained. They're not focused on it. No matter how much you explain it to them, they're not going to master it, because you're focused on it, but they're not. They're not. They haven't taken ownership. They haven't buckled down and just blocked everything out and been committed to understanding the word problem, reading it and on their own and understanding it. They haven't gotten to that process, and we have to teach them how to do that. It's not just something, we can't just tell kids to focus and expect them to focus. They don't know what that means. What are they focusing on? Are they focused on sitting in their chair? Are they focused on making sure you put a capital letter at the beginning of each sentence? Are they focused on making sure they read every word instead of skipping words or substituting words. Are they focused on making sure that they can explain every step of the math problem, how they solved it? You know, that's another thing I've been doing for years for students. Instead of just telling me the answer, they have to explain to me how they got the answer. They have to explain every step. And then when the kids are explaining every step, they stop and say, oh, I made a mistake here. Or, oh, I didn't mean to put that. I did that wrong. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me fix it, right? Let's take it to the next level. Let's have our kids read more. Let's have them pay attention to detail. Let's have them explain their thinking, explain their math steps. Let's have them writing every day. You know what I mean? Let's have them spelling every day. And all the while, make sure that they are sitting properly. That's going to help them when they go to school. They have to practice. Practice is important, right? If your child right now moves around in their seat constantly and they don't, it takes them a real long time to get their work done because they're moving around a lot, they're talking a lot, they're asking you questions a lot, they're asking to go to the bathroom, and they're dropping their paper or dropping their pencil, and you're there trying to manage everything. You got to get that together before they go to school, because they can change from doing all that to sitting down and writing and looking at the board, waiting for the next, the next instruction, do what they have to do. They can do that. My 3-year-old, this is one of the tips that I, well, by the way, I'm not going to be teaching middle school and high school when the school year starts. I'm going to be focusing on elementary. I'm zeroing in this year, y'all. Okay? I'm concentrating on elementary school students, all right? And then 3-year-old students, I don't really, so they're going to have to be in kindergarten at least, 5 years old, okay? All right, so, but I do have right now for the summer a 3-year-old student. And one of the tips that I gave his mom was, whenever there's mealtime, have him sit properly first and fold his hands, right? And then put the plate in front of him. Because I noticed when I was teaching him, he was moving around a lot, talking a lot, and doing, and then she started doing that, and then I was doing the same thing in the sessions, and now he can keep up with me. Now he writes when I tell him to write. He can read also. He's very smart, reading at a young age, and he can write. Okay, so he writes. He keeps up with the lesson. He's doing really good. And I have another strategy I gave mom this week, because I could see it's his focus that's holding him back. And also looking for mom to help him with the answer. So he doesn't give himself thinking time, figuring it out time. Okay? So what I did with him, I advised his mom to set a timer for 3 minutes and have him sit and fold his hands, keep still, and focus on an object in front of him, and set a timer. Okay, set a timer for 3 minutes, and then he has to sit there and look at that, and let's see, and every day see how long he can stay until the timer goes off, and every day it progresses. All right, so this is another strategy that I gave his mom to practice, because it's his focus, and when I'm teaching him in class, I help him focus first and then teach. The focus has to come first. Focus and then teach. Focus and then teach. If you're working with your child at home and they're very unfocused, your number one priority is to get them to focus first. Get them to focus, and then whatever you're trying to teach your child, whatever you're trying to coach your child on, or help your child figure out, then proceed. Don't try to do it while they are moving around and talking and not sitting properly and very distracted and everything. Don't try to do it then. Focus first, then get to the learning. Because if your child doesn't master this, then that's exactly what they're going to do in school, and they're not going to absorb the information like they should. Most kids, now I know that people people have different situations and they have different ways that they learn. But I'm talking about the overwhelming majority of kids that I have worked with over the years, and that I still see. Like I said, I just did a reading workshop at the Linden Public Library, and we're almost done. One more week. This was a great one today, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again next week. I think I lost my train of thought. Let me get it back. So I was talking about making sure that your child is focused before you start teaching them how to read. Yeah, so if they go into school and they don't understand it, the vast majority of kids that I've worked with, their lack of focus was impeding their growth in their learning. And I had to make sure that they were focused and develop focus strategies for them. It's combination strategies that combines reading with focus at the same time, right? So that they can progress. It's so important. Focus is number one. I'm telling y'all, focus is number one. If your child is struggling to read a word, why are they struggling? What do they need to focus on? What part of the word do they need to focus on? Which sound do they need to focus and practice before they go back in there and get the word, right? What consonant blend do they struggle with all the time that you need them to focus on before you even have them read the rest of the word? One strategy I use to students all the time is, if there's a tough part of the word and we identify it, I have them write the word and then I have them circle that part. Then practice that part over and over. Now we're going to go back to the rest of the word. Focus. It's important. It's for everything. Focus is not just paying attention. Focus is how they pay attention and what they need to pay attention to. What's their focus goal? And before I go, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the homework program, and there'll be some tips in there for parents, for you. If you struggle at home with homework for your child, right? Oh no, not again. All right, so let me go to the homework and then I'll go back. So homework, my homework program goes like this. I assign customized homework. That's your first step. Whatever your child doesn't know, assign homework for your child that's customized for them to work on whatever skill they're struggling with, and keep working on it until it's mastered. Then the homework is sent back to me, and then after the homework is sent back to me, I review it, analyze it, and provide feedback to the parent and then also the student, talking about the growth from the last homework assignment and what we're going to work on this homework assignment. And then they complete that homework assignment, send it back to me, and we keep doing it over and over. So what if your child could receive homework that's just for them, specifically for them, to help them with the skills that they need to master and in the areas where they need to grow? Okay? Imagine that. Imagine how much your child would grow if they had homework that was customized just for them. So if you are giving your child homework at home, don't just give them random sheets and worksheets. Like, design it for them so that they're always working and growing in areas where they need to be working and growing in. And then when they conquer it, then you can give them something more challenging, and then they can keep growing. Okay? So that's a huge tip. Another tip is no more games, learning through games. And I'm not, okay. I'll tell you why I said that. They could be, they can play games. They could, learn, but learn online with the games and the clicking, and if they click the right answer, you get a bell, but they need to write. They need to write on a worksheet or on a notebook paper. For your child to have a lot of success this year, teach them how to focus, and also get back to notebook and paper and pencil. Okay, so I design worksheets for my students, and then they have to write everything out. They write everything out, and then they send it to me, and that's how I can pinpoint not only if they got the right answer or not, but also if they are using capital letters where they should, if they're using punctuation properly, if their spelling is improving. I can see the patterns, right? You can't understand what a child fully knows or where they need the most teaching, tutoring, coaching, if they are not doing work. They have to do work. It's not just about the right answer. It's how they got to the right answer. It's their thinking process, okay? It's very important, all right? So, I just wanted to let y'all know. I hope y'all having a good day so far. I'm a little tired after doing my workshop, and I need to eat something. That's why I'm chilling off a little bit. But, okay, a parent just let me know that she received the homework that I just sent her. Okay, good. This homework program is in full swing. So if you enroll into my program now, not only will your child attend my tutoring, coaching classes, and that's awesome. I'm excited about everything that we every year I also always change something or add something, to the summer program to make it even more effective. And this year there's a lot of great things that we're doing. But they would come and they would come to class with me, and where they would learn to operate in a group, function independently, read aloud, write and read their writing, solve problems aloud, a lot of writing and focusing and paying attention and work independently, all that good stuff. But also, parents will receive feedback on the work that the students send in, and also the homework. Students receive customized homework that were designed to help them grow. So even though they see me 3 hours during a week, the rest of the week they're still working, they're still growing, they're still learning, they're still conquering, they're still overcoming challenges that they have struggled with for years. Parents are telling me about the improvement that they're seeing with their students. And one of the biggest issues or the toughest challenges for parents is letting their kids do it and make mistakes and resisting the urge to come in and correct them and erase it and have them do it over. That's tough. And I understand because I'm a parent. But when you send me the work that your child did without making corrections, without hinting and making sure it's right, then I can see where your child is, how your child understood the assignment, where they struggled, where they need coaching, where they need to grow, where they need more practice. I can see it. So if you enroll your child into my tutoring coaching program, let them send it in with all the mistakes and everything, okay? After that, if you want to work with your child, fine, do that. Work with your child afterwards, that's absolutely fine. But I need to see the raw deal. I need to see the struggle. I need to see that so I can customize the coaching, okay? And if your child doesn't know it now, they will know it. And it's much better for them to think and make a mistake, but keep getting closer and closer to figuring it out every time, than for them to fix everything in the beginning, but they didn't think themselves. Oh, I remember the question I wanted to leave you with. Do you know your child's thinking face? That's the question. Do you know what your child's thinking face looks like? When they don't know the answer, but then they start to think. When they don't know the word, but then they start to sound it out to themselves. When they're not sure, but they have two choices in their heads, and they're trying to pick which one. When they're not sure, but then they might have the right answer, but they're second guessing themselves. Learn those faces. And during those times, your number one job is to stay silent. Let them think. Let them go through that process, because that's growth. Don't rescue them. Let them think. Whatever answer they come out with, praise them for coming up with something. Even if it's not the right answer, then you can guide them and help them keep thinking till they get to the right answer. But master your child's thinking faces, okay? All right, y'all, I'm going to go get some food because I'm hungry. And I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting here talking in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot with y'all. I'm going to get some food, and I'm going to review all the wonderful things that happened at the reading workshop today, and what I'm going to do next time. Since the last workshop is going to be a culmination of everything they've learned on the first three, with games, right? So they're going to love it. It's going to be like a review, and it's going to be fun, and it's all going to come together. So I'm looking forward to that last workshop. And I'm looking for some more another location to do these free workshops. There are 4 free workshops for your kids. Okay? So if you need anything, you have any questions, or you want to enroll your child into my tutoring coaching program, you want your child to benefit from my homework coaching program, you live in New Jersey, right? And you want me to come to your library or your church to do the free workshops, just message me, and we'll connect, and we'll get it done. Okay? Thank you so much for your time. Believe in yourself, believe in your child, honey, and always remember that growth is unlimited, and you got this. Peace.